Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one. Spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Spirituality. Oh, now we get real.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. And this is week 2 with technical difficulties. So I'm trying to call into the show, and I'm not able to anyway listen. That's just the way it goes. Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you can call in with this number. You can call in to speak with me live, area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. Let's start the show. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. I'm your host, Rebecca L. Norrington. I'm getting so many people following me. I don't know where the hell you people are finding me, but thank you for the follow. Thank you for all my new listeners. This show is growing organically. Everybody that knows me knows that I'm technically challenged, social media challenged. I'm very limited. I can tweet, I can post, but that's about it. So welcome to all my new people that are following. Thank you so much. I am Rebecca L. Norrington. I am the world's only happiness specialist. And what does that mean? That means that I share with my audience, or whoever wants to listen, how to experience more happiness on this journey. It's just that simple. Happiness is a skilled practice. Happiness is a skilled behavior. Happiness, there is a formula to it. And there are behaviors, thoughts, things, what we were all taught, what we were all programmed to believe and act that subtract from our happiness. And all this show does, all I do, is expose what subtracts from your happiness, what subtracts from your peace, what subtracts from your contentment, what subtracts from your feeling of balance, relaxation, and satisfaction. And you'll hear those words a lot if you listen to the show. Because those words, when I say satisfaction, you know how you feel when you're vibrating a vibration of satisfaction, an energy of satisfaction, and you know when you're not. So what I do is I share what I've learned, quote, the hard way, the life of hard knocks. Because when I was younger, I wanted to be happy. One of my wishes was to be happy. And what I found, much to my chagrin, is that this happiness is not found outside of self. And today's topic, I don't know if we've talked about it before, but it's coming back around. And the topics go by what I'm inspired to do during the week. And so I was hit. Don't think just because I'm a happiness specialist and I talk and I share with you on the radio what I've learned. Don't think that I don't have my own personal challenges. Because the universe said, well, that's really nice of you, Rebecca. You want to be a happiness specialist, but you got to learn how to walk it. And so with practice, like any other skill, Happiness is a practice skill. With practice, you are able to get through, flow through this life that offers us, that throws at us challenges whether we want them or not, lessons whether we want them or not. Because life is not all about feeling good, meaning that there is an acceptance to all of your energy, all of your vibrations. But when I'm specific to self, when I'm talking about self, your relationship that you have with yourself will determine not only your perspective on the world, your perspective on other people, your perspective on the moment, the present moment. Your relationship with yourself determines your peace and happiness. And when I talk about peace, those words, peace, contentment, are interchangeable with happiness. In my definition, I've said it before a million times, I'm going to say it again, my definition of happiness is being able to be at peace regardless of what happens and regardless of what doesn't happen. Your relationship with self is also a reflection of your relationship with the universe or God or spirit or energy or whatever term you want to use, source, light. It doesn't matter, whatever term you want to use. And because I do have listeners that don't believe in God or any universe or anything like that, listen, that's why this is so great. That's why what I share is so perfect, because you don't have to believe in a God. You don't have to believe that there's a higher power. You don't have to believe any of that, because the things that I teach still, when I say teach, share, let me just say share. The things that I share with you don't require you to believe. Isn't that fascinating? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that the best? Where what I share is embracing all. Because I don't care whether you believe in the universe or you believe in God or you don't. All expectations will subtract from your peace. Every time you're in somebody else's business will subtract from your peace and happiness. Every time you blame somebody else for how you're feeling, you're subtracting from your peace. So see, you don't have to believe in anything to follow, to grasp, to practice the things, the formulas that I share on this show. I love that. I really do. Because there was a time in my life I didn't believe, went from being, I don't know how I'm getting on this topic, but went from having to go to Bible school every week when I was very young, Christian, following all the different religions, jumping from one religion to another religion, finally jumping to being an atheist, finally jumping back in to saying, okay, universe. And you know the thing about the universe is it's not even believing. It's not anything didn't happen to me, but I was in I've been in two separate places, meaning different events in my life where I've just sat. One spot where I remember just sitting down, and it was in snow, and I just sat down and I said, "Oh my God, there is a God. There is another power. There is something else besides me. There is something greater." And there was another incident where I was in the middle. It was near Monument Valley. I'm getting off the topic, I know. Monument Valley, but I remember just being in awe. If you ever go, if you ever want to take a trip, Monument Valley is God's country. when I say God's doing it, I mean, I'm really getting off the beat. Listen, it was a specific spot, a specific time where I said, wow, I can feel God. I don't know if you've had that moment or moments, but I remember feeling both times. So I'm saying all that to say, which I don't even remember my first train of thought. Hold on just a second, audience. I have to make sure. Okay, I have a few people in the queue. If you want to speak with me live, just press the number 1. The number is 646-564-9619. Hopefully you can get through. I don't know. I can't get through my own show. Okay, this is today's topic. Today's topic is your relationship with self. Now, navigating through this life, there is always some kind of challenge, daily challenge, weekly challenge, moment challenge. And I'm here to say that nothing has to change in your life, no events, nothing has to happen for you to have a shift, an energy shift, a shift in perspective, a shift in energy. Nothing has to change, nothing has to happen other than an energy shift. In other words, there's nothing physically that has to change. If you're complaining, if your issue is finances, you don't have to have another $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in your account for you to get this shift. So what I'm saying is the relationship with self is a constant awareness and witnessing of thoughts, behaviors, choices, decisions. For an example, your relationship with self requires not knowing, requires you to embrace uncertainty. Now, who you believe, who you think you are today, right in this moment, listening to this now, can change. In other words, stay open to all possibilities with self. I remember thinking years ago, I will never fill in the blank after that. When you make statements of I will never or I will always or I will, and you have these rules or these conditions placed on self, I encourage you to be more open to, I'm who I am right at this moment, and apparently I was who I was yesterday and the times before, years before, months before. But who I'm going to be in the future, what decisions I'm going to make in the future, who I'm going to evolve into, expand into, I have no clue. But I trust that however I'm evolving, however I'm expanding, however I'm growing, however I'm changing, I trust that I am being guided and I'm being led and I'm in my highest and I'm being served. So the relationship with self goes hand in hand with your relationship and your trust with the universe. I saw a woman, we were just passing, and we were in a parking lot, and I came around. It was a parking lot, and I came around my car, and she didn't see me, and so she was startled. And she says, "Oh," and I said, I didn't mean to scare you. You're thinking in your deep thought, and all of a sudden something startles you. So I startled her, and then we laughed about it, and I said, "Oh, I get startled a lot, deep in thought." And she says, "Yeah, you never know who's going to be in between the cars. You never know. It could be somebody that wants to hurt you or harm you." I mean, she's saying this to me, and I said, "Well, I don't think like that. I don't walk around thinking that something could happen to me. I don't walk around thinking, having fearful thoughts of, oh, there's something that's around the corner. Oh, I have to be aware of. Oh, I have to watch out for." It's just not it's not where my thoughts go. I practice trusting. Now, listen, if the universe thinks, I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to say that. I'm not even going to throw that out. But when she said that to me, I immediately thought of, so she is going through life being fearful of what could happen or what might happen. Now, trust, I'm not talking about not being cautious or not being aware of your surroundings. It would be foolish to be in a place where you're not aware of what's going on. You know what? Scratch what I just said. Scratch what I just said about it will be foolish. Scratch that. There is a set point to how you view the world, and how you view the world is in direct relationship with the relationship you have with the universe and the relationship you have with self. And that is always changing, and it's always evolving, hopefully. The reason why I'm talking about this is because this week I had a shakeup, a personal shakeup. And it happened to be on the 4th of July. And I was talking to my son, and I said, holiday, I don't have anything planned. I said, I'm feeling a little lonely. I told my son, I said, I'm feeling a little lonely today. Middle of the forest. Now, listen, if I wanted to, I'm sure I could get out and find something to do, volunteer. But for some reason, I was feeling a little melancholy. And I shared this with my son, and I got off the phone with him, and the universe hits me with this. The universe said that you're feeling sad or lonely or melancholy on a holiday, you're by yourself, has nothing to do with the holiday, has nothing to do with being by yourself, has nothing to do with any of those things. The disruption, let me just say this, the imbalance, the disruption, the unease, the pee under the mattress has something to do with your relationship with self. This is the universe talking to me. I mean, what do you mean the relationship with myself? I don't criticize myself anymore. I'm okay with uncertainty now. What do you mean? The universe said to me that there are times and there are moments when you are at peace with self, and when you're at peace with self, you're at peace with the world. And there are times and there are moments when you are not at peace with self. But be very clear that it has nothing to do with the date. It has nothing to do with it's a holiday. It has nothing to do with you have plans, you don't have plans. It has nothing to do with any of that. The relationship with self is an ongoing, ever-expanding ever-changing dynamic. And the more that you practice trusting, letting go, and surrendering to every moment. Oh, scratch that. I'm going to add something else. Trusting, surrendering, accepting, and letting go of all moments. Oh, let me throw this in. And not taking anything personally. You are going to experience more peace. Now, what I found is, you know how you look out in the world and you I like to look out into nature. I mean, I'm surrounded by trees. All I see is trees and animals all day long. Trees and animals and trees. So when you're surrounded by nature, it's I like to look out. I like to look at nature and use it as a guide. There is nothing out that in the forest that is the same as the day before. There is a leaf that's blown off. There is a dirt that's moved a certain way. Animals walked on it. There's wind blows. There's always some change. There's always something different. There's always some movement. And it's the same with this relationship with self. When you accept and when you know that you're in constant change and you're in constant shift, then you have nothing to hold on to, stick to, get stuck on. The relationship with self also has to be fluid. Has to be has to be the willingness to be fluid, to be different than you were last week, 2 weeks ago. Just because you were a certain person and didn't like this or behaved in a certain way 5 years ago or 6 months ago doesn't mean that it fits you now. In fact, no, I'm not even going to say that. I was going to say, if you're the same person as you were 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, there's something wrong. And I'm going to say that I'm going to scratch that because there's still nothing wrong. What? That doesn't even make sense. See, the evolution is knowing the truth that that everything is in order, from your growth, my growth, the world, whatever is going on, whatever is happening is in perfect order. And that follows under the heading of trusting. And when you trust, there's no room for fear. When you trust, there's no room for worry. You can't worry and trust at the same time. This relationship that you have with self is the number one. Now, let me say this. I've talked about this before, too. In the beginning, both you, me, this programming of how to navigate, how to flow through life, from what's right to what's wrong, to what's expected, to what's not expected, to the rules, the regulations, to what's accepted in society, what's accepted in your home, what's accepted in your personal relationships, what's accepted with your children. When I was younger, there is no way that I would use profanity, four-letter words in my parents' household. No way. And believe me, but the freedom to be able to speak however I want to speak and however my son wants to speak with me, there is no way I would have said, well, you know, when you get to a certain age, you're gonna be okay with your son cursing in your presence. You're going to be okay with your son saying or doing whatever in your presence. And let me say this. I am. Your relationship with self has to always keep evolving and changing. That's number one. The commitment to being okay with evolving and changing. And just because I've always done it this way, I've always felt this way, doesn't mean you have to go down like that. Doesn't mean you have to keep that same train of thought. The other interesting thing about the relationship with self is wanting more. My ego is never satisfied with what is. I don't know about yours, but my ego is never satisfied with the present moment. Always wants something different, always wants something to be changed, always thinks something could be better, always thinks there could be more. I'm here to say that this wanting more, feeling more, desiring more I'm able to witness that self or that entity that comes out of me, this wanting more, seeing more, looking at, oh, it's not enough, it's not enough, it's not enough. I have a radio show. How many listeners do I have? Do I have 5 listeners or do I have 500 listeners? What's the difference? Is there a difference? Is there a difference? If I think that if my, and small self, big self. Small self is a self with the ego. Capital self is a self with the universe. Let's just divide it up like that. My ego is going to think that it's definitely better that 500 people listen to me better than 5 people listening to me. And that is the relationship that I'm saying that is the struggle. Knowing that there is another entity, there is another voice, there is another vibration, there is another way of viewing the world, and that is always to see the glass half empty, or always to see some complaint, or always to focus on some negativity, or focus on something that's quote-unquote wrong. Now, all I'm saying is not to change it, not to resist it, but recognize that that entity is not comfortable with being at peace. So it's a constant, let me speak for myself, it's a constant wrestling between, it's a constant struggle between higher self and the opposite. The wrestling, the struggle, when you sit back and you start to witness, as opposed to identifying and putting yourself in it, because your higher self, the self that you know, the self that's peace, that's all peace, the self that knows everything is in order and everything is right, the self that trusts, the self that surrenders, that particular entity, is always available for comfort. Your relationship with yourself is really your relationship with the universe. My question to you is this: what is your relationship with the universe? I don't know about you, but I talk to the universe all day long. I fuss, I talk, I complain, I say I hate you, I say I love you. I mean, it's always, it's active. You know, talking to myself, yeah, I talk to myself, but I talk to the universe more than I talk to anyone. And my question to you is, how often do you talk to the universe? How often do you Have a conversation. What is your relationship with the universe? And let me say that know that if there is anything that you are struggling with, that you're challenged with, you always can go to the universe for help. You just ask, how to, universe? How can I? How do I? How? How do I experience more peace with self? How can I strengthen up, shore up my connection? Because we're all connected. It just depends on how often do you go to your connection. It's just like drinking water. What is it? We're supposed to have half of our body weight in ounces, 8 bottles of water, 8 glasses of water, 8 to 10 glasses of water a day. So it's the same with your relationship with the universe. How often do you drink from the cup of the universe? How often do you have a conversation? How often do you engage? Now, for all my people that don't believe and don't engage, my question to you is, not my question to you, my statement to you is, just follow up on and pay attention to the laws of the universe, meaning the laws of cause and effect, the law of attraction, the laws of let me just do this, law of gravity. There are laws in the universe. Oh, hold on a second. Now I've got to get my book out, my first book, because I wrote all about it in the first book, Reality, Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness. And I'm trying to okay, here we go. Okay. And these are not my I did not put this together. Okay, hold on a second. There are laws in the universe. There are immutable laws and mutable laws, laws that can change and laws that are not changing. Laws of vibration, the laws of polarity, the laws of rhythm, the laws of cause and effect, the laws of thoughts arising, mental laws, the laws of attraction, laws of gender, the law of witnessing. The practice of the commitment to the journey of seeking peace, happiness, contentment is an individual practice. It's a one-on-one decision. It's you and the universe. It's you and your relationship with you. If you're critical of self, you're going to be critical of the world. If you're judging self, you're going to be judging not only yourself, but others. If you are complaining self, you're going to be complaining about the world. It's self-evident, and the choice always comes down to how committed are you? Or how thirsty are you? How thirsty are you? It's the same as what do you crave more than anything? And in any single moment, there is an answer. Some people crave being right. Some people crave drama. Some people are addicted to drama, addicted to being right, addicted to complaining, addicted to negativity. your relationship with self is determined in every single moment. The other news is your relationship with self, your bond with peace, and your relationship with self has a direct link to what is your relationship with peace. That only you can answer. I was listening to a podcast, or it was a question and answer portion yesterday, and someone wrote in and asked, what's the difference between awareness and enlightenment? You know, my answer to that question is, who cares? Who cares? What is the difference between your relationship with self and wanting peace? What is the relationship? What is the difference between self and peace? See, every decision, every choice, you're either choosing drama or you're choosing peace. You're either choosing ego or you're choosing universal. Your relationship with yourself will determine your happiness level. I don't care how much you want to talk about somebody else. I don't care what they did to you or you against you. It's always about the relationship you have with self. And the universe hit me a few days ago and said, there's nothing to do with holidays, being by yourself, nothing. How peaceful are you hanging out with yourself? How peaceful. And that particular morning, I was struggling with self. I was struggling with being peaceful with self. And then, now that comes out and now that that's the truth, then I have to follow it up with, in this moment. In this moment, there's a little bit of imbalance. In this moment, I'm feeling something. I'm feeling other than the peace and the connection and the ooh, you know what I'm talking about. But see, that is the trick. That even feeling that irritation, different imbalance, pee under the mattress, not feeling very peaceful, even that is part of life and part of the acceptance and part of being okay with self. See, okay with self means, being at peace with self means being at peace at all the moments. What's underneath? Doesn't matter what the ocean is doing on the surface. What's on the bottom? What's at the bottom of the ocean? It's all peace. So your relationship with self grows with every moment. And the more that you are open and you are willing to be open and let go and ask the universe, how can I experience more peace? How can I let go? How can I be accepting of self? How can I look in the mirror and be okay with all of it? Is a daily practice. Let me end it by saying, this thing about wanting more or having desires or needing something, if you need something, if there's something that you need, that you think you need, I want you to know and trust that you already have it. And if there's something that you don't have, you don't need it. Reality Spirituality is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you to my new listeners for finding me and listening, and share with anyone you like. My website is RebeccaNorrington.com. Follow me on Twitter at RLNorrington. My Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. You can follow me. I have a few video tips on YouTube. That's a work in progress. My first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, can be found on Amazon and also Lulu.com. I'm working on a program for unhappiness now. That's going to be my second book. And until next week, my dear audience, I want you to remember who you are. You are a physical extension of the universe. You're always evolving. You're always changing. You're always growing. Love is patient and love is kind. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is about the journey. I'm available for weekend retreats, seminars, talks. Contact me at info@RebeccaNorrington.com. Thank you so much for listening to Reality Spirituality. Have a conscious week, my dear audience. Thank you for listening. Reality Spirituality.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's the new experience. Reality Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one, man. Reality Spirituality. You got a question for our